Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Education, the Teachers Talking Terror podcast, where myself, Mike,
and myself, Courtney,
are back to cover our Week 2 Gauntlet of Horror.
Yes.
We spent a ridiculous amount of time the first week of October watching horror films, many of which we did not enjoy, just so we could talk about them with you guys. And we're back to do it for another week. Now, just so that we let the audience know, we had predetermined all 31 movies for the month before we even started. And so, with really just 2 occasions that we've made any switches, and we'll get to those, and 2 of them were this week, so we'll get to those in the rationale why. But other than that, it's not like we switched around the second week to make it better than the first. No, this was just a much better variety of movies that we landed on. And so let's, again, as a reminder of the format, if you didn't catch us last week, normally, of course, we do 1 movie a week. This month, we're doing a movie a day, but we're not recording every day because we're not that much of a glutton of punishment.
We don't have that much free time.
No, nowhere near that much free time. So we're just going to rapidly go through the 7 movies we watched this week, brief plot synopsis, give our grade, and then we'll give our rankings at the end of the show of what we felt was the best and worst movies, and then everything in between. So, without further ado, the first movie of the week was a random shuffle, and we landed on Sinister, the scientifically scariest movie of all time. I've seen scarier, but to each their own.
This one, sorry, I just kind of cut you off.
No,
this
one,
I could see it, just because it is intense the entire time. But I've definitely, like you said, I've seen scarier. But this one, I feel like, was just that enough subtle scary to just last through the whole movie.
Yeah, Scott Derrickson, the director of this, he's really done a great job in his horror directing career of balancing the proper amount of jump scares with just dread.
Yeah.
And so this movie is a perfect example of that, which is why I think it ranks so high with a lot of people. It's a story of Ethan Hawke and his family. Ethan Hawke is a true crime writer that likes to move his family to the communities where he feels unjust murder has happened, and then writes about it. And basically uncovers all of the mistakes the police department's made, et cetera, et cetera. It's really, at its core, it's really kind of dirty. But he moves his family into the house of the murders without letting them know. And so he comes across a box of home films, and the home films have a variety of murders on them, not just from this home. And he just kind of spends his movie trying to unravel the truth of what's going on, and also trying to determine whether or not there's any demonic forces at play.
Yeah.
And it's not the most upbeat ending, but it does satisfy what it needs to satisfy, and it's not a bad watch.
Yeah. No. The lawnmower scene.
It gets you, didn't it?
Yes, it did. I never, spoiler if you haven't seen it, never thought I could be scared by a lawnmower scene until this one's going. That was a very solid jump scare.
I think I read in the trivia that Ethan Hawke had not seen any of the 8mm film prior to shooting. And so his reactions to these films are his genuine human reactions. Being the first time, and that one got him to jump out of the chair as well. Well done special effects in the movie. You could tell there was a lot of practical stuff done because they did film all that stuff on 8mm film. But there are a lot of things in there that I won't say are hard to watch, but they were tricky. Pulling the family's all duct taped to the pool chairs and then dragging them all into the water.
I heard that was real. Because I was reading And that the one where the family is all hanging from the tree branch.
Yep.
I also read that the person who like did that accidentally, like, I don't know, mismeasured or something.
Yeah.
And so they actually did. I mean, they're all fortunately okay,
Right.
but they did hang like for a few. And so obviously that person was fired. But I was like, man, like, along with like being a horror movie, like there was some pretty horrific things that happened as well.
It could have been a tough set to survive on.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of our quick rundown on Sinister. What grade did you give it?
I gave it an A.
Good for you. I followed up. I gave it a B plus.
Okay.
It's one of those. It's a fun watch, and I think the first time I saw it, I probably would have given it an A. But a lot like The Visit, like the rewatchability fades because once the cat's out of the bag of what's really going on, it's like okay, that's the only trick it has up its sleeve. It's still an effective movie, but it's definitely one you're going to want to put. You're probably going to want to put a couple years between viewings just so that you kind of forget what you watched. So yeah, A and a B plus. We're off to a great start. Off to a good start.
Yes, we are. And I just like, you know, we've talked about our quote unquote classics, and like my classics definitely are like The Conjuring and like
more
just
contemporary
jump scare, like scary movies. And so if it's got good jump scares in it,
you are definitely a jump scare gore girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, situational scary does okay if it's well acted, but yeah, you definitely are like, make me jump 57 times in this movie, and you got me. So
yeah.
All right, Monday's pick, Monday the 9th, was your pick.
Yes.
Was it not? Or, yeah, it was yours. Yeah.
Yes.
So what would you bring to the table? What did we watch on Monday?
We watched His House, and it is a newer film, and it's about these. You might have to help me out. I'm feeling
Sudan.
like my movies are like running together.
They were refugees from Sudan.
Yes, and they're escaping, and so they've been put up into this like almost safe house, and there's just some underlying dark presence happening.
Yeah, it's a man and wife. And they lost their child in the trip. But like you said, they're put up in government provided housing. But really for them it's the first time they've ever had a home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so there's a lot to take in because this is the most they've ever had, but in a place they're not familiar with.
Right. And it's like just all of this stuff is like happening.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just like weird stuff.
Yeah, a lot of eerie, like you don't know if it's ghosts, you don't know if it's demons, but again, with them being from a different country, Sudan, one that we aren't necessarily hip on their urban legends and things like that. Like, is it tapping into a mythos that we just as Americans aren't familiar with? Possibly. But yeah, they're battling back and forth of trusting each other, whether they should stay, whether they should go. Like, can they outrun this?
Because is this the one that talks about like the voodoo?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, like I've watched so many movies, I feel like some of them are running together, and so it's like
welcome to my world.
Yeah. And so I feel like they had struggled a lot with like, is this voodoo? Like, is this voodoo type? Yeah. So.
But also being refugees to a country that doesn't necessarily want them, they don't have anyone to reach out to.
That's horrible, like horror in itself.
Right, and so they come up with a plan and they face their tormentors head on. And I don't want to reveal the twist because there is a pretty heavy plot twist to this movie. With it being a more recent movie, we don't want to spoil it. Like talking about Sinister's several years old.
Correct. If you haven't seen that, like,
it's like you're not. You could jump in and still be fine. But this one just came out, I think, last year, so I don't really want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it. But there is a lot of English. There is some subtitles, but it really does show the dynamic between this husband and wife from a different country and how that varies with our own culture and traditions. But yeah, there is a big twist to this, and luckily there's a happy-ish ending, and You know, they've become stronger through their torment. So
yes.
Does that sound fair? Does that sound like a decent assessment without giving away too much?
Yes.
Good gore. Really,
yeah, I mean,
solid scares, like creep factors. Like it definitely fits the horror mold.
Yes, it had a lot of like back shadows type, like in the background that I thought it was very suspenseful. I guess you know tense. It just tense.
It'd have you on the edge of your seat. It definitely is a movie you're going to want to watch with the lights off because it is dark. There's a lot of dark in this movie. Like you said, other rooms where the lights aren't on and you hear noises there. And it's like if you have any lighting on in your home, you're squinting because you think there's something in there. So just turn the lights off. Just turn the lights off. So
fun fact, I don't watch scary movies with the lights off. Like as much as I love scary movies and horror movies, I'm also
somebody's soft.
I'm very scared of the dark. I'm one of those that like walks really fast back to the bed after I go to the bathroom. So
what did you grade His House?
This one got a B+ for me.
Okay, this was one of the ones this week I was a little, like, not concerned, but I thought this might be one that we were varied on. I gave it an A. I gave this one an A. I really liked it. Will I watch it again? I don't know. Like, I've seen it. It's not one of those, like a Freddy or a Halloween where it's like I could revisit it year after year after year. Because it is heavy. Like, the themes in this movie carry a lot of weight.
Yes.
And it's not the last movie of the week that carries a lot of weight. This one carried a lot of weight to where you really do feel and understand. Really, I understand why these people don't want to go home. Like the horrors that we're living in right now in this house are not as bad as it was in Sudan. So, unlike another movie we'll get to here in a couple of days, you know, talking about it, where it's like, yeah, you guys are idiots. This one, I could attest to their passion to win.
Yes.
So good. I like that we were pretty close on that one. This next one might be decisive as well. This one was my pick, a movie I've been wanting to see since it came out. I just haven't gotten to it. We watched for Tuesday the 10th. We watched Jordan Peele's newest film, Nope. An alien, not an alien abduction, more of an alien predatory type of film. Really, this movie was all about showmanship. I think that was kind of its underlying theme. We have a family of Hollywood horse trainers. The father has died, and the brother, who is more trainer than showman, is trying to carry things along. His sister comes back into the fold. And the movie spends the majority of its time on the ranch. And there is the suspicion of something in the skies. And it
was just a weird combo for me.
And there's not really the desire to escape from whatever is in the skies, but they realize that their long time Hollywood horse business really doesn't have any future without dad around. And so their big thing is if we can get proof of this thing existing, then we should be fine. So that's really what this is about. It's not about surviving it, although they do a lot of time. You spend a lot of time surviving it. But it's really about the showmanship of this is our chance. Let's get this. Yeah. So,
and if you've seen any of his other movies, they're all just like kind of odd. Like they're not bad, but they're not like great movies. Yeah. So I think this one definitely followed like the expectations of what you would expect watching his horror films.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. What do you got for a grade?
I give this one a B-.
Okay. I figured we would be apart on this one. I gave it an A. I found this movie enjoyable.
I just thought the whole like Midwest ranch alien thing was kind of weird.
We're in California though.
Well, I know, but like they're on, like it's placed more so. You know what I mean?
I do. It definitely felt more. The movie wasn't scary. It was more action horror.
Yeah.
Sci-fi kind of horror than it was straight you're going to be afraid horror, because that definitely wasn't there. So yeah, I completely understand why it doesn't scratch your itch, but it is I just found it a lot of fun. Like I really like Jordan Peele as a director. This one I was curious about, so it was a lot of fun, So moving on to Wednesday, this was another shuffle, right?
Yes. Speak No Evil.
Speak No Evil. It's a foreign film, but fairly English based, which was nice.
I really liked this movie, which is crazy to say because you're like, it was a foreign film. But this one was like a slow burn. I feel like there wasn't a lot of horror up until like almost like the third part of it. Mm-hmm. Like you just have these average people. They had met another family, became friends. They go visit them, and they stay with them for a while. And then it's like some weird kind of odd things happen, but you're staying at someone's house that is like a newfound, like fresh relationship. So you don't want to like be rude. Right. And those things just kind of slide, like listening to the music too loud, vegetarian and serving meat, grabbing their daughter and sleep, like having her sleep in the bed with you. That was kind of weird. Like that's probably where I would draw the line.
Yeah. Well, and it really was like, you meet these people on vacation where everybody is in a blissful state. Yeah. Vacation is already a time when you relax on your normal day-to-day rules. And so they hit it off just fine, but you don't know each other.
Right. And so they kind of were like building so then that,
they go and visit, they go stay and suddenly realize, that, oh man, we're way different, and then we get to finding out how different we really are.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Finally, like, almost like the third part of the movie, they're like, all right, the dad finds all these pictures up in the attic. Yeah. And he's like, this family is weird. Like, the son has no tongue.
Right. But the dad has... he's got a condition.
Yeah, born without it. And so he really doesn't talk. Okay, whatever, like that stuff happens, cool. But then he finds these pictures of like this family with all of these different kids. And it's like, oh, like, okay. So they escape after finding the little boy had died. Yeah. And they escape. Well, they try to, I guess. But yeah, it ends with, this family had like been meeting these families and killing them and taking their kids.
Yeah. And
it is.
And they're not even like trafficking kids. Yeah. They're literally just they take this kid as their own until they kill the next family and take the next kid. Yeah. And when they kill that kid. Yeah. And so come to find out, like the last like 10 minutes was just so like, oh my goodness. Yeah. So heavy. Because, they cut that girl's tongue off and it's like the little girl. And it was like when it's happening, again, sorry, spoiler, like just them cutting through the tongue, you can tell like they were struggling. Yeah. And just all the blood and everything that poured out of it. Ugh. So great. Like loved it. But the end really is like one of those that for a couple days, I like still when I think about it, like I can still see it in my head, and it just,
upsets me, maybe. Like, it just, because they had made them, like, strip down and they stoned them. And it just, like, we had talked a little bit pre-show, like, that was very just heavy and dark.
That takes time. That's not a quick murder.
And it's just, I loved it. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, I didn't love to see them. I'm not like some psycho.
No, right,
I promise. But but I loved it. I did.
So what'd you grade it?
Good. It got an A.
This got my lowest grade of the week. This is a C. I did not.
Oh my gosh, I loved it.
I did not like this movie. It was, no, don't get me wrong. It was well made.
Yeah.
I'm not taking away, the acting was fine. The performance was fine. Like, everything about this movie works. I didn't like it. It was just stupid. Like, I found myself fixating on things like, just leave.
Yes, and it was frustrating because it's like at one point, like, they leave and then the little girl's like, oh, like her little stuffy she left behind. It's like, okay, well, they were the family that had more money out of the two.
Yeah.
So it's like, just buy a new one.
Yeah, there were
like,
so many.
She will be fine.
There were so many instances in this movie where the quote unquote nice family was so afraid to stand up for themselves. And it's like, just leave.
Yeah, it's
and I understand that they know where you live because they mailed you a postcard, but leave. So that was stupid for me. 2, it really took me out when they went into the attic and found all of those Polaroids pinned up. Like, I get bored with that trope in a horror film. Yeah. Where it's like, you're doing this, and so clearly you're senile, like you're crazy. But like, this movie is layered and deep, and then you lay this out there for easy digestion.
Yes,
Like, no, we knew this family was off. I don't need photographic proof that they've done this.
Correct.
So that part bothered me. And then on top of it, the one that really brought me out of it completely was, like, seeing the amount of pictures in the attic. I'm like, and no police? Like, this never seems to be an issue.
Yeah.
Like, it just seemed like that there would be reports.
Exactly. And especially because, I mean, there were a ton of pictures. And from the end, I'm assuming maybe they stoned all of the families, because it's like, when it kind of backed away, like, you could see different circles.
Oh yeah, you could see piles.
Rocks.
So it's like you keep murdering them in the same spot. You keep photographic proof that you've done it, and at some point the children aren't being found, like, with the same level of decomposition. Like, it's just, there's so many, like, just plot holes for me.
Yeah.
Plus, on top of it, I'm okay with the bad guy winning. I am. But I think a lot of it is just being a family guy. It's like, I'm like, the dad in this movie continually put the comfort of his host ahead the comfort of his family.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, buddy, you can't do that. I can't say anybody deserved to die, but you guys, stupid decision after
it was definitely one of those play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
So
but
well-made movie. I completely 100% stand behind why you enjoy it. Like, I get it. It had the recipe to be enjoyed. I just found myself picking apart some of those, like, why haven't you just left yet?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you find the kid has been drowned and is just floating in the pool. Like, why are you coming back?
Yeah.
Why are you taking any time?
And this is different than, like, a slasher film where, you know, they make the stupid decision to go upstairs and investigate the noise. Like, that's supposed to be stupid.
Yes.
Like, this was two family, and I don't know, it just, it was my lowest grade of the week. And that lowest grade is still a C. Like,
exactly. Like, that's, you know,
it wasn't
decent.
Like, it wasn't Patrick or Possum. You know, but it was like, okay, like, I watched it. I'm not going to watch it again. Like, it, you know, I just, okay. It was, like I said, I fully support your high grade for it. it just was one for me that I'm like, it's just, you remove some of those pills there, that all the pictures especially, or you strew, like even Henry last week did a better job of spreading out the corpses.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what's going to happen to this thing? How are they financing their vacations?
And I'm like, what? Like, do they own that land that they're killing everyone at? Because it's like, how has no one realized? Like, oh, there were 0 rock piles, and now there's 30 rock piles.
Right. It's like there's just so many.
Yes, there are.
Yeah, but that's just me being nitpicky. Like, I had decided as the movie went on, I'm like, I don't like this. Like, it's effective. Like you said, you kept thinking about it and it made you sad, But it was like, I don't like this feeling.
Yeah.
Like, you're building your film success off of me being uncomfortable. So, see it is. So Thursday was my pick, and we switched it up. We were originally going to do Scream 6 to bring Ella on, but then we got to thinking, like, she'd only be on for like 5 to 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. So we opted to give her where credit is due and let her do a full episode in November. So we switched gears and we watched the second oldest movie on the list, maybe third. Anyway, early 80s film. We watched Poltergeist.
Yes.
Poltergeist, produced by Steven Spielberg, directed by Tobe Hooper, who directed the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is a story of the Freelings, who dad's a very successful real estate man, has a home and a new development, and right away, like we're talking opening scenes of the movie, something is talking to the daughter through like the white noise of the TV. Mm-hmm. And she's responding back.
Yeah.
The house, there's ghosts, basically. The house is haunted of sorts, and they want Carol Ann. So she gets sucked into the netherworld. We never see her there. We hear her speaking through the television. And the Freelings are bringing in any paranormal investigator they can to figure out a way to get their daughter back. Meanwhile, the house is still resisting their attempts. And come to find out that the subdivision that they live in used to be a cemetery.
Yes.
They were under the assumption that they moved the cemetery, like corpses and all, when in fact they just moved the headstones. Yeah. So it is the presence of the spirits of the dead that are still buried under all of these homes that for some reason are only focused on the Freelings. Like none of the neighbors dealt with it, but whatever. And they do eventually bring in a medium who has a plan. They get Carol Ann back and move away. And if you haven't seen Poltergeist by now, which I know you hadn't, but this is old enough that we're not spoiling anything here.
No.
So that's pretty much Poltergeist in a nutshell. A lot of practical effects, a lot of cool camera trickery, and really just solid performances. This was also kind of like Sinister, although far worse. This was a very doomed production.
Yeah.
Like, the older sister was killed before the movie came out. Like, her boyfriend strangled her. The younger one, like, she died when she was like 12 from complications. And it was a rough set. Mm-hmm. Fun fact, the skeletons in the pool scene, I don't know how much trivia you read.
No, none on this
one.
Like
the skeletons that came up during the pool scene were real skeletons.
Oh.
They were able to get their hands on real human remains cheaper and faster than they could bring in fake ones. So they went with it and then just didn't tell her. So when the mom is swimming around in the pool and all these skeletons are popping up out of the water, they were legit human remains.
Ew.
Yeah. It's the 80s, baby. Like, you just make your movie.
No.
Regulations, they pay far more attention to that stuff now than they did then. But it was like, you got real skeletons? Yeah, let's just get them. Let's just do it. We just won't tell. Don't tell Jo Beth Williams. So, but yeah, that's it. Classic. This is a classic film. It's spun off several sequels. None as good as the original, but some of them far creepier than the original. Okay. Just based on like where they go with the mythology of it. So, but that's Poltergeist. What did you think of Poltergeist?
I liked it. Some of these like I've heard of, and they've just been so hyped up.
Oh, so yeah,
that I'm like, it wasn't that scary though,
right?
Which there's nothing wrong with it, but yeah, I gave it a B just because I'm like, it wasn't as scary as I thought it was, but it was still a good book.
Okay.
Or movie, not book.
That's fair. I went with an A+. It's got the nostalgia factor for me. Like I can't shake it. I wish I could.
Yeah.
I had an art teacher in grade school. He was also a high school PE teacher and driver's ed, but he would come down and do art with the lower grades like once a week, like one period a week.
Okay.
And Mr. Miller was his name. And we figured out real quick, Mr. Miller was a hunter. And if you wanted to get a good grade in art, you just do a deer. Anytime you could put a deer in there, no matter how good or bad the art is, if there was a deer there, you were getting an A+.
There you go.
It didn't take long to figure it out. And that's kind of where Poltergeist sits for me.
This is your deer.
It's like, if it's on, there's a really strong chance I'm stopping to watch it. Mm-hmm. It's no matter where you hop in, it's just entertaining and fun. And really, there's some creepy stuff to it.
Yeah, there is. I mean, I feel like anytime that a kid is involved with something, it makes it like more creepy because... Yeah. I mean, kids are just so innocent in that. And it's like, she's just talking to the TV people.
And she's doing a good job of it, too.
They're coming. Yeah. Like, who? Who's coming?
You got the clown toy attacking the little brother. Yeah. Which, another instance where they had that harnessed on too tight, and it really was choking him.
Oh, no.
And they thought, wow, he's really giving it his all. He
is. Because
we started to turn blue, so they cut that down. But yes, and then what's the other one? Oh, obviously, like I said, the skeletons popping up in the water. There's just some parts of this that were like, yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, Yeah. But yeah, the one I was thinking of, the paranormal guy who was looking at his face in the mirror. And then just the reflection started peeling away the face.
That one was good. It's like, you could tell, obviously, the head was fake, like, whatever. Right. But the way that, like, the skin was just, like, the flesh was just peeling away. Ooh, yeah.
So the house was just messing with him. And so that was it for me. I just love that movie. Like, it's like a warm blanket of horror. Yeah. Like, it's one that, I mean, I haven't, but like, we could show the kids. It's intense, but it's not profane. There's not any nudity. We'd be okay with that. So that was Thursday's movie. Then we get to Friday, which was another kind of switcheroo here. We had a movie planned, and then it dawned on me as we talked early last week, like, how are we not watching Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th? So that's what we did. We made a switcheroo, and we watched the original Friday the 13th. Mm-hmm. A movie that really trips a lot of people up that haven't seen it, because they obviously relate Jason and the hockey mask to the Friday the 13th franchise.
Yeah, and really he looks like the guy off the whatever, the Hey You Guys.
Oh, like, he's more like he's more like Sloth off Goonies.
Yeah. Okay, but also I thought that, I don't know why, but I thought Jason killed his mom.
No.
Like, this whole time I thought that Jason killed his mom.
Nope.
And so that...
Jason kills for his mom.
Yeah.
Like, after this one, of course. Another one, this one is the oldest movie of the week, 1980 it came out. But yeah, there's references to Jason, but Jason as a drowned boy, not Jason as a hockey mask, serial killer.
Yeah.
This movie's definitely more of a mystery.
Yes.
Than it is, because it really plays out like like this big fancy, like scary Scooby-Doo episode. Like
it kind of reminded me of Sleepaway Camp. Like no one knew who was killing.
Right.
You know, there's just all these gory kills going on.
There is absolutely a reason why Sleepaway Camp feels like like Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Because when this movie hit, it like dominated the box office. And so there were a lot of people that were like, hey, got to make summer camp movies. I mean, not even horror movies, but there were just a lot of movies that came out in the early 80s set on a summer camp.
Yeah.
You figure the location's cheap.
Yes.
And, you know, you just make it work. So, yeah, this movie is, you know, roundabout. We start out with a couple of counselors getting murdered. We don't know why yet. Fast forward 20 years, and they're in the process of reopening Camp Crystal Lake, only to find out that there's somebody lurking in the woods that is killing off all the counselors.
Yeah.
Including, like, the head, like...
They still open it.
Yeah. Well, they tried to, but they just run out of people. So, like, people are getting murdered. The local people don't want to talk about the camp because of everything that happened. You know, we end up with one survivor, and she runs into a woman that she believes is there to help her out. Well, it turns out to be Pamela Voorhees, Jason's mother, who is responsible for all the murders because her son, Jason, drowned 20 years ago, and she clearly snapped and has never gotten over it.
And, I mean, she clearly snapped because she's saying, like, kill her, mommy, kill her. And it's like, she's crazy. But I was waiting, like, once she showed up, like, when she got out, she's like, I'm Mrs. Voorhees. I'm whoever's, you know, friend. And so...
Steve Christie.
Yeah, the Christies. And she's like, you know, our only survivor is here. And, like, oh, thank goodness, like, someone. And then it just kind of gets weird. And... yeah, like I was waiting because again, the only other one I've seen was Jason Lives, the sixth one. Yeah. And so I just thought that Jason killed his mom. No. And so I'm like, oh, Jason's going to make an appearance. Like, here's where it comes.
Alice kills Jason.
Yeah, so when Alice picked up the machete and just chopped her mom's head off, I was
lopped it clean off.
What? And then I was like, wait, Googling, like, did Jason kill his mom? Like, what happened? But yeah, so then that's when I had read, like, he watched her kill his mom. And so that's where it starts.
Did the final jump scare of this movie get you?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it did. And when I had seen her cut her head off, that is when I immediately grabbed my phone and I was like, what? And so it had said that Jason, watched her behead his mom, and that's why he comes up behind her in the canoe.
You read
so I was like, I did read it, and I guess I wasn't expecting it because then she goes out and she's doing that, and so I just kind of was like, okay, well maybe that just gave me, you know, the wrong thing, whatever. And so then I'm like looking in the background, seeing if I can see Jason. And no, he just like came up, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Like, was not expecting.
Oh,
that.
I love that for you. Yeah. I don't remember when I saw this movie, and I've seen it so many times. I don't remember my reaction to that jump scare. So the fact that it got you, it makes my heart happy because it's like
it was so just strategically placed too. I mean, the cops come, like she's safe, everything's
the music
calm.
Real calm and like almost flowery kind, and then read out of the water.
Yeah, that's why I was like, Google just told me wrong. Whatever, you know. Nope, it got me.
The filmmakers will be happy to know that it's still effective today.
Yeah.
So, what grade did you give Friday?
I gave this one an A-. Okay. I liked it.
Yeah, I gave it an A+. Same kind of thing. This is one of those that if I'm flipping through the channels and Poltergeist and Friday the 13th are on at the same time, I'm going to Friday the 13th 100% of the time. The Jason franchise, the Friday the 13th franchise is just so ridiculous. They get more and more ridiculous, but this first one really is an effective film. Like it, you know, I understand why critics wouldn't like it or whatever, because it's just dropping, you know, characters left and right. But you kind of care about the characters. Like
you do.
you get just enough out of them that you just like, these are just kids at a summer job. Like it's, they're not bad people.
No.
They just happen to be in the wrong place at the right time.
Yeah.
And so yeah, good. A- for you, A+ for me. Makes me happy. All right, let's wrap up with yesterday's film. We're recording this on a Sunday, and we watched 1982's John Carpenter film, The Thing. John Carpenter being responsible for the original Halloween. So this is another bleak one, another alien one. So I'm sure you're probably not too jazzed about that. But this is a movie that takes place in Antarctica. Movie actually kicks off. We see like a UFO, alien spaceship come into Earth's atmosphere, and then we cut away. Like we don't know when that happened. We don't know where it landed. But then we meet a U.S. scientific research group based in Antarctica. I don't know, it's 7 or 8 guys. That's all it is. Just 7 or 8 guys, and then they're going about their business, just whatever. Then we see like this husky dog come running through the tundra, and a helicopter staffed with Norwegians shooting at the dog. Long story short, they end up bringing in the dog. The helicopter blows up. They both, all the Norwegians on there die. And, and things start happening in our camp. Like, this dog is, again, we're talking 40 years later, so we could spoil it. But the dog ends up being like a shape-shifting alien that basically consumes a body and then perfectly mimics that body to continue spreading itself around. It needs a new host. And it doesn't create multiples of itself. There's only one at a time.
Right.
But the guys eventually they find the spaceship when they go check out the Norwegians, campsite, et cetera, et cetera. Well, again, they're in Antarctica. So there's really nowhere to go. So it's a matter of we have to kill this thing before it kills all of us. And boy, does it run through these guys.
Yeah,
and
it does.
And some of the most like gooey practical effects, really in motion picture history. Like the puppetry in this movie and the special effects in this movie are just fantastic. So it ends up being, we never really know, because the alien's always taking on the appearance of something else.
And it is like, it's scary to think about like someone that you are so close with,
right?
And you just can't trust it. Like nobody can trust anybody in this movie.
No.
And like they come to find out like, oh, if we kind of try and harm it, then it will do. But when they were doing the blood, and maybe I missed this, but like when they were doing all of the blood tests, did you know if you were an alien? Because I feel like some of them were like, "Oh no, am I?" Like,
yeah, the being does know.
Okay.
But they are trying so hard to fit in that they react, and so that's why when they are testing the blood in that scene, we obviously don't know who it is until they discover that even if it's separated from the host, it will react.
Yes.
Like almost kind of like an earthworm. If you cut an earthworm in two, it's now 2 earthworms. So, so it still will react, but it's still reacting in presence of the host. So when the blood reacts, then the host is like, then it freaks out, because it felt it. It's reacting.
I've been caught.
Yeah. This movie's great too.
I liked this movie.
Good.
Yes,
I was hoping you'd hear that.
Actually, are we ready for a grade?
Oh yeah, let's grade it.
It got a B+ for me,
Okay.
just because I was like, you know what? It kept my attention the whole time, and it was because I was like, who's going to be next? Like, what's going to happen? And when people are MIA for a little while, like you can't trust them. You don't know if they're the alien. Like, so yeah, I did. I liked this. I liked this one.
Good. It's actually my 3rd straight A+ of the week.
Wow, this is a good week for you.
It was a great week for me. I had 3 A+, 2 A's, a B+, and a C. But yeah, this movie, it's I love John Carpenter as a director. I love early late 70s, early 80s John Carpenter as a director even more. This is a lot of people's favorite horror film, if not favorite film of all time. Just because it's got the horror elements, it's got the mystery elements, it's got the suspense elements. It just has the existential dread of we can go nowhere. You know, we are in the most desolate place on the planet, and nobody could get here quickly. Yeah. And it's a race. It's a race to, we have to try and kill this thing. And even the way the movie ends with MacReady and Childs, who Childs had gone off on his own, and we as the viewer are left with, is one of them the alien? Even they don't know. Even they don't know. There is a lot of speculation. I don't know how much of it's true or actually warrants. I don't know. But there are a lot of people that say that MacReady was human and Childs was the alien. They were saying Childs MacReady is Kurt Russell,
the white one
with the beard.
Okay.
Yeah. They're saying he was fine and that Childs was the alien. And they're saying it, they're like in that final scene. And these are all legitimate things that if you are looking at the eyes of both of them in that final scene, like MacReady's eyes like have a catchlight in them and Childs does not. Well, that was done intentionally. Whether or not that's the giveaway, I don't know. They're saying that, I've read in places that you can't see Childs' breath in that end scene and MacReady's breath is all over the place. I've read instances where MacReady was making like Molotov cocktails to throw all throughout, like he was trying to burn the thing alive. And at the end, he offers Childs, he offers him like the bottle. Well, MacReady knows that the bottle's full of gasoline because he's been trying to blow the thing up. So he hands Childs this like liquor bottle of gasoline and Childs drinks it. And right at the end, MacReady kind of gives a little nod and just a little tiny, like, not a laugh, but just kind of a, like if you're human, you would not have, you would have reacted. So I don't know. I haven't researched enough to know if it's the definitive answers out there, but this movie's got enough fans that the critics crawl through it, like critiquing it of like, I know. And here's 10 reasons why.
Here's why.
Yeah. So I think that's great. That's a huge testament to a movie like this when we're looking at 41 years later and people are still arguing over whether MacReady or Childs was the alien. But either way, it's just such a dreadful movie. Because whether MacReady is human or not, he doesn't survive.
No.
Whereas the alien will. The alien will just freeze back into the ice and wait. MacReady will be a goner, but such a good film. Well, that covers our week. That's 7 movies. Much better than the week before.
Yeah, it was.
Let's rank these bad boys. What was your number 7 of the week?
Nope.
Fair enough. I went with Speak No Evil.
Okay.
I had Speak No Evil as my number 7. Number 6.
The Poltergeist.
Oh, wow.
I know. We are going to differ a lot this week. Last week, I liked all of them, I feel like. But
right. Same, with the exception of Speak No Evil. Like, it was an easy 7 for me. The rest of them were like, where am I going to put this one? Last week we differed, but really it was one movie's placement that kind of moved things around. Is like you had Frontiers a lot lower than I did, which then made everything skewed a little bit. My number 6 was His House. It wasn't my lowest. It wasn't my second lowest grade of the week. But much like Speak No Evil, it just was so heavy. Like, good film. Great film. I really enjoyed it and would recommend it. But it was just like so heavy, especially that turn at the end where I was like, oh, no wonder you guys are being haunted. So that's my number 6. What was your number 5?
His House.
Okay, so we're not too far off there. I had Sinister as my number 5.
Okay.
And really, it was kind of a crapshoot for a lot of these top 5. So Sinister was my number 5. 4?
The Thing.
Oh.
I know. I bet that's a lot higher than you thought, because it's a lot higher than I thought too. When I was like, oh, an alien movie? All right, whatever.
Especially when we had 2 alien movies this week.
Yeah.
I had Nope. Yeah. Nope was my number 4. Again, probably not a big surprise because I had 3 A-pluses this week, what my top 3 are going to be. But yeah, I had Nope at number 4. It would have been higher if I didn't have these next 3 movies in mind. So, number 3?
This is where I struggled because I really did like my last 3. Mm-hmm. I went with Friday the 13th.
Okay. So I went with The Thing on this one. And I also struggled with the shuffling of these top 3.
Yeah.
I really tried to lean on what would I switch to if they were all on TV at the same time.
Yeah.
And it would be tough. I mean, I would be bopping around during commercials, no problem. Mm-hmm. But yeah, these top 3 were what would I watch. So yeah, I had The Thing at number 3. Although I really think The Thing is the best movie of the week for me. I really think it's the best film of the week.
Yeah.
But I know my wife wouldn't watch it with me. Whereas the other 2 she would. So what was your number 2?
Okay, this was really hard because it's like I really enjoyed, again, I feel like this is where our age kind of, shows, like our age gap shows, because I loved all of the jump scares in Sinister, like, whoo. But then again, I'm all about a heavy movie. So I went with Sinister for my number 2.
Fair enough. I went Poltergeist. Also a heavy movie, but with a much happier ending.
Yeah.
So Poltergeist is my number 2. Sinister's yours. Again, you're serious. It's the age gap.
Yeah, it is, because I mean, all I know is horror movies are jump scare movies.
Right.
So yeah.
And your number 1 of the week
is your number 7 of the week.
It is.
Speak No Evil. Oh man, the way that image of them laying in that pile of rocks, that is the scariest thing. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, like, I know. And I don't know. This, yeah, I really liked this movie. I loved
it was a good shuffle then.
Yes, I really liked how just dark it was.
I had Friday the 13th as my number 1. But again, like I said, even when we discussed it, I completely support anybody that loves this movie. I went and looked at reviews of this just to see if I was crazy or not, and I am. Mm-hmm. There were a couple of reviewers that I really respect, and they were like, "This movie's near perfect. This movie's great. It moves you, it makes you think, or whatever," and it absolutely does. It may have had something to do with the fact that I watched this movie at like 4:30 in the morning too.
Yeah.
But I think as a father, I watched it and I was like, God, there's so many stupid decisions being made in this movie. But it was a good week. It was a really good week.
It was.
So, I think next week won't be as good. I don't think, but it's got some great ones in there. You do have a foreign film.
Okay. Is that Saturdays?
Yes, Saturdays. Okay. Saturdays will be subtitled, and if I remember correctly, it's long too.
Okay.
But not like it's. You like heavy, you'll like that one.
Okay.
And then let's see. I'm looking real quick because it chimes in at 7 minutes shy of 2 hours.
Okay.
The one for Friday, I showed my wife the trailer. She goes, "I'll watch that." She goes,
"Has she not seen it before?"
No.
Okay.
She goes. She even asked, "Is that the one where this?" I said, "Yeah." She goes. So I pulled up the trailer. I fully expected her to be like, "Well, that's stupid," but with her being a nurse, there's enough medical energy going on in this movie. She's like, Okay.
Let's give it a try.
It even says in the end of the trailer that this movie is 100% medically accurate. So I think she's like, okay, let's try that. And then I know Wednesday, I don't know if you'll like it or not. It's already got a high mark for me because it's a great one. But and like I told you, I've already watched this morning's movie, so
yeah,
this one's a little all over the place. Monday and Tuesday are sequel or prequel and sequel of one another. So think we'll be in good shape. We'll be in good shape. So, no, good week. We're half done already. 14.
I know.
How many horror films have you seen this month so far? Just these 14? You watched anything extra, have you?
I don't think I've watched anything extra.
But when was the last time you watched 14 horror movies in a month?
I know.
Right. I think my movie this morning was my 20th horror film of the month.
Oh, wow.
On the 15th. So I'll be able to finish with more than 31.
I think I have watched a TV show. Let me see. Oh, no, it's mystery. Okay, never mind.
What TV show is it?
The Watcher.
Oh.
I've rewatched that. I was going to say it might be horror, but it's mystery.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's...
Well, that wraps up week 2. Week 2, much stronger second week than the first one. I'm glad we kept going because that first one was... I didn't have a single A in the first week.
No.
Nope, not one. Much better one. And we'll see what next week plays out as well. Social media-wise, you can find us Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Leave your comments down below. We'd love it if you like and subscribe. Share your thoughts. We do get feedback occasionally. We do. Yeah. We get some comments on the YouTube channels and occasionally on a Spotify episode. So it's fun to see where people are digesting our content. And we will be back next week with another run of 7 films. Let's see what you think of these, because I'm looking at this list and I know that you will be 0 for 7 in terms of seen before.
Yeah.
I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 7. 2 of them.
I have not. Well, yeah. I haven't seen any of them. No. Any of the rest of the month or anything.
That's true. So, all right. Well, that wraps up another week of education. I'm glad we did this, and we're going to keep on going. So, because we've got nothing but free time.
That's right.
All right. Well, for education, I'm Mike.
And I'm Courtney.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.